It's Fans Corner. Welcome to it, and thank you so much for making time for us once again. It's the Betway Premiership. Like I said, the title race is heating up. We've just watched Magesi FC against Orlando Pirates out in the Old Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. That game ending in a 1-0 score favoring Orlando Pirates. Another 3 points for Orlando Pirates, trying to catch up and close the gap between them and the log leaders Mamelodi Sundowns, and thus making a very entertaining title race for us. Before we go into the game, remember to subscribe and like our videos. Subscribe to the Off-Air Podcast channel, which is the one that brings you Fans Corner, and also click on the notification button so that you can receive notifications whenever we drop new content. Now, before we get into the game itself, crowd attendance impressive. Of course, in a smaller stadium, they couldn't play at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium, which was built during the World Cup. Because of the damage on the pitch that happened during a music festival there. So the game had to be played at the Old Peter Mokaba Stadium, which has a much smaller carrying capacity of 15,000, but it was packed and it's nice. I guess sometimes it's also an advantage to play at a smaller stadium because it tends to create an interesting atmosphere with the compact crowd, making the atmosphere quite exciting. So yeah, I like that. Shout out to the people who made time to go to the stadium. Getting into the game itself, after Pirates won by 8-1 in the previous game, our expectations were high against Magesi FC that has lost their coach in Clinton Lassen just last week, and they have an interim coach taking charge of the team for the first time against Orlando Pirates. So I think my expectation on paper I thought Pirates would score a whole lot more goals. I thought it was going to be another festival of goals like it was at Orlando Stadium against Marumo Gallants, but it wasn't to be. But still, Pirates won the game. That's the most important thing in a title race. Just keep on racking up those points. Goal difference is also a factor in this in the league, so I think Pirates would also be aware of that. Pirates, I think, to say Magesi, I think Papi Zotwane, the interim coach of Magesi FC for now until they appoint a permanent coach. There are rumors that Owen Dagama, a seasoned PSL coach, Owen Dagama, might be appointed as the new Magesi FC coach, but those are just rumors for now. But Papi Zotwane, I think he lined up pretty well for this Pirates game. I mean, as his first game, he avoided the baptism of fire that we saw Marumo Gallants going under in the previous game involving Orlando Pirates. So I think I'll give credit to Papi Zotwane. And had it not been for the penalty that was missed by Magesi, perhaps they would have salvaged a point. Again, another team that did not really they defended, yes, but not too deep. They didn't defend too deep. I think Magesi tried to play as well where they could play. I think they identified spaces where they could play. They didn't want to play everywhere because they know Pirates is just there's a lot of serious power with this Pirates team. So I think the other thing that makes Pirates difficult to play against is the fact that you have to defend on all sides. You have to defend on the left, the right, and also from the middle of the park. You have Relebogile Mufokeng operating on the left-hand side, can cause you problems any day at any time. You've got Nkota operating on the right-hand side, can cause you problems all day, any day. Then you have the middle of the park where you have the likes of Talent Mbata who can take a loose ball at any time and take a shot. So it becomes a little bit difficult. You can't focus. You can't double up on one person. You have to, if you are planning to double up on the people who are on the Pirates attackers, you have to double up on all of them. So you need about 6 players behind the ball at least at all times. So I think from that perspective, I think Papi Zotwane had the team well organized in that regard, but it took a moment of brilliance. You saw the goal from Relebogile Mofokeng. Brilliant goal. I thought I saw an amazing goal by Ribeiro yesterday, but this one by Mofokeng, dropping off a shoulder, just making sure he takes a shot. And it's difficult usually to beat Elvis Chipezeze from distance because he's very good at positioning himself. He's a a good goalkeeper in terms of positioning. We saw there were made number of shots that Pirates launched onto the Magesi goal, and they were most of the time Chipezes was in the right position. So to beat him from that distance it takes a serious effort and some form of brilliance. And Mofokeng, man, that was nothing short of genius what he did there. A beautiful goal from Mofokeng, and from there I think I expected Pirates to come out and score a little bit, to come and score more goals after that. But I saw Magesi, instead of going to ultra defensive mode, they wanted to create chances of their own. They got a penalty. Oh, they had a red card. Sorry, we also didn't talk about that red card. I think the Pirates were dominant from the first minute. Okay, they were dominant, but they had Magesi also had their moments of making box entries into the Pirates side. So they were not that defensive. So they made a number of box entries on the Pirates side. But as soon as they had a red card, now they are one man down, so they had to patch up that empty gap there. So they didn't make as many box entries, but they still did make the box entries. That's why I'm saying they were not as super defensive as one would have thought they would be. So they still tried to make chances, to create chances to score their own goal. Had they got a penalty of their own, a handball, I think it hit Makaula. I mean, in other leagues, for instance, in the English Premiership, I think that would have been, my opinion is that it would have been overturned. That decision by the referee would have been overturned, because I think it was a bit soft. It took a bounce. It was his arm was too close. I understand it was not the arm was not in its natural position, but when you are jumping, when you're on the air, I mean, the arm for balance, it's practically impossible to keep your arms attached to your body. So you have to for some form of balance, you obviously have to spread your arms a bit. So I think it was a bit soft, but it was a penalty nonetheless at the end of the day. Just like the red card. At first I thought it was soft, but upon looking at it, you realize the player had no intention of playing the ball, so it was a red card. So after the red card, we saw Pirates scoring a goal, and we also saw Magesi getting a penalty and missing a penalty. Sent the keeper to the wrong side, but then missed the target. And unfortunate. Had they scored from there, I think it would have been a very different game. It would have even been difficult for Pirates, especially when you have a goalkeeper like Elvis Chipezeze for Magesi. We know him in terms of time wasting and game management. He comes out tops. So it could have been a different game, but it wasn't. The Pirates. The one thing that I'll critique Pirates for, I think two things actually, because we are looking at the title race and you're starting to see where their weaknesses could be. Number one, on today's game, I think their fullbacks. We saw Pasika Marco operating on the left. We saw Van Rooyen operating on the right. Okay, Pirates is mostly attacking. It's about attack most of the time. So sometimes I think they fail to drop back on time, which is why Magesi were able to make some box entries. They were not coming straight from the middle of the park. They were coming from the flanks, where sometimes we find that Pasika Marco has gone up to the Magesi final third. And they when they win the ball from the right hand side of Magesi, which is the left of Orlando Pirates, they're able to go and occupy that space that was left behind there. And also Van Rooyen also doing the same thing. We saw Van Rooyen scoring a goal in the previous game because of those box entries that are made by many Pirates players, including the fullbacks. So sometimes I think they don't track back on time. It's a positive and a negative. The positive is that they make a lot of box entries. The Pirates puts a lot of bodies on the opposition's penalty box, which is good because it creates a number of chances for scoring goals. But at the same time, if you don't drop on time against other teams with serious pace, they can punish you. So I think that's one of the critiques that I can have for Orlando Pirates. Otherwise, they're a well-balanced team. The other thing is that sometimes they are slow when they have the ball. I think we saw Relebohile Mofokeng. He could have had a brace. There was that ball that he received earlier on in the middle in the box, but instead he was a bit slow he wanted to take a touch before taking a shot. I think he was slow, and I've seen a number also a few other Pirates players doing the same thing, where they were a bit slow, and sometimes they tend to have too many passes in front of the opposition goal. I think sometimes you just take a shot, which is what they did in the previous game, and they were able to score an avalanche of goals. So I think this time around they were a bit slow. So it was a narrow win. I expected a much bigger win than that, but it was 3 points at the end of the day. But Magesi, I think we have to give credit to them. They tried to play to match Pirates by pound for pound, but obviously it wasn't to be. And also as a team that was one man down, to only limit Orlando Pirates to only one goal, it's also it also shows you that there is potential about this Magesi team. By the way, these are cup champions. This is not a team that is lacking in quality. They do have the quality to win games. We saw in the Carling knockout, they did that, but in the league, the results are not showing in the league, because they're now at the bottom of the log. They're fighting relegation. They don't look like, when you see them in the pitch playing, they don't look like a team that is fighting relegation, because they look so good. Maybe it's because we are seeing them under a different coach this time around, but they all obviously honestly look really good on the pitch. So they have to now start grinding out the results, because also time is running out. Okay. The race for the title is heating up. Pirates are now 3 points behind Sundowns, also with the game in hand. It remains to be seen whether they'll be able to catch up. This has been Fans Corner. Thank you so much for your time. Remember to catch us on the next one.